Hey fam, how are you? Hope you're doing well. As always, let me know if you can hear me and see me well as we wait for our guest to join. I have shared with him a link to join us using. Waiting for him to join. In the meantime, we can chat. So, how are you guys? Yeah, there's always a lag. I'll wait for you till you guys tell me that you can hear me and see me. Until then, I'll be talking to myself. So, or I can tell you a little bit. Oh, hi. Hi, Dijbin. Hello from Brooklyn. Hi. How are you? Tawaka said, subscribers only. No, subscribers only for chatting, for writing a comment. But even that, if you've been subscribed for 5 minutes, I think, or 10 minutes, you can comment. So it's okay. But if you're commenting, you're already a subscriber, right, Tawaka? Facts, no feelings, peace and love, family. Hi. Hi, BJ Riggs. Thank you for coming through. Hi, Tasfai. Hi, Lou. How are you? And for those of you who are just joining, I am waiting, or we are waiting for our guest to join us. Yeah. So, Eradi asked, hi, Grant, first of all. Hi, Zalalem. Eradi, hello, Angel, you consider to visit SA? I'm assuming SA as in South Africa. I've been to Cape Town, but I do intend on coming and visiting, like, all the main cities and the attractions and everything that I haven't seen. Roger. Hi, Roger. Welcome. The African Pan American. What? The African Pan American said, how are you? I'm good. What does that mean? What does the meaning of your title mean? Please let me know. I don't know why our guest hasn't joined us yet. We'll wait for him for a little bit because we were communicating and he told me that he will join. So I'm not sure. Maybe there's like a network issue or something. I'll wait to hear back from him. We'll give him like, let's say, like 15 to 20 minutes. And then maybe we just chat and I don't know. Maybe we reschedule because, yeah, he's not here thus far. So Echet said hi. George said, hi, I'm Jamaican. Bless love. Hi, George. The African Pan American said, I'm the boss. That's the meaning? That's what it means? At said, you are doing a good job. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you so very much. So, how are you guys? How have you been? Where are you from? Where are you guys watching from? Where are you guys watching from? Let me know as we wait for Shawn to respond. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's a time difference. I think maybe there's a time difference. I'm not sure because, yeah, we were communicating thus far. I'm sorry for you guys, for all of you that came. And if he doesn't show up, I'm apologizing in advance. But I do believe he will show up. Atta Mills said, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Atta. I think he's joining us, fam. Facts not feelings. Thank you, Zurai. Thank you, Dave. Let me pick up his call, okay? Let me see. I can see he's calling, but I don't see him. Give me a sec, fam. If you can hear me, Shawn, can you kindly please like allow the application to show your audio, to share your audio and video, because I don't see you. I know you've joined though. So let me see, because I can't see you, Shawn. Oh, it's a network issue. Let's give him a moment. Okay, let's see. Shawn, can you hear me? Shawn, if you can hear me, kindly turn on your audio and video. I've added you to the stream. I don't know if you can see, but kindly turn on your video and audio as well, because audio shows me it's on. Can you hear us, Shawn? Shawn? Anyone? I'm not sure what's wrong. Shawn, maybe log out and log in again, or maybe refresh your equipment, like maybe restart your phone, or oh, he's gone. Okay, I think he's having difficulty joining, but we'll give him a moment. It's okay. We can say hello until then. He's calling again. Sorry, Fao. With technology, there's positive and negative. Shawn, we still can't see you. Maybe if there's a setting that you need. Oh, now we can see you. Can you see me and hear me?
Excellent. Yes, I can see and hear you. Thank you. And sorry about my delay coming in. I'm currently at an airport, so I had to try to get in a secure area so I can talk.
Oh no. So you're not in a good position to have a conversation, because if you're at the airport, we wouldn't want you to miss your flight.
Oh, I'm not catching the flight. I'm getting another car, so I'm just in another section. So I'm good on time and everything.
You're okay, you can talk. You're sure?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I
Okay,
promise.
we won't want to inconvenience you in any way, okay? So you're okay where you are, or like you want to set up the phone somewhere so that there's not a lot of shaking? If you can. If you can't,
Uh, oh well, I don't. Yeah, It's. I guess it's the best I can do for now.
it,
I'll try to hold as thick as I can.
oh, it's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. You know what? We'll try to keep it short so that we don't, I feel like I'm okay. It's fine. You said it's okay. So, welcome, fam. Anyways, let me introduce you. Let me do the introduction, then we can have our discussion, okay? So, hi everyone. Hi, this is Shawn Alamayo. He will explain to us a little bit more who he is, and about, his relationship with Alamayo. That's the main thing, I guess, that everyone is talking about right now. So we want to hear a little bit of the backstory, but just for my audience, just so they know a little bit about what we're going to talk about. They need to know who it is first. So I want to tell them a story, or your history, or your ancestry. But no, you know what, you tell me who you are first and communicate with our audience, and then I'll give a little bit of like a backstory. So just tell us who you are, Shawn.
Yes, thank you for having me. I go by the name Shawn Alamayo Tedros. I grew up in America, and up until the age of 27 and 30 is when I became aware of having Ethiopian roots. One day, my father told me that I come from a king family by the name of Kasa, and uh, it took me about a month to digest what he was really saying because I never heard that type of talk before. So I reached out to call him about that, and he had passed away at that time. So after about 5 years, I went to Ethiopia after retired from the military, and I found myself all through the country, and I found out that Casa he was referring to was Atsi Tedros II. Um, upon coming back to Ethiopia in 2017, there was a lady by the name of Abibis Casa Mishisha Tedros was being interviewed, and she mentioned that Tedros had 6 other children. And so the person I known as my great grandfather, I was told that he was one of the children of Tedros. And I've ended up going to Ethiopia and meeting her and doing DNA and finding out I'm from the family. But the biggest surprise was that when I went to England to pay respects for Prince Alamayo Tedros, there was no gravesite or nor is there a coffin there. So what I learned is that his life was preserved past the age of 19, and it was something that Queen Victoria had arranged because there were letters that were coming back from Ethiopia from King John or King Johannes, requesting for Prince Alamayo to come. So after the second letter, she pretended he had passed away and staged a plaque and I guess what we call a funeral, and he was sent to Palestine in the year 1879. And from there, when I traced him, he left to Ethiopia, and this was, of course, under a new name. And he went to Ethiopia in 1919 and stayed there to 1927 and relocated to America. And when he came, he brought a son he named Charles, which was named after Captain Tristram Charles Speedy, who was one of the guardians of Prince Alamayo. And so, growing up in America, my grandfather gave birth to my father, and so that's when I learned of the family, and then I learned of the close resemblance that I had with Prince Alamayo to further put the whole story together, what really happened.
Yeah, I think this is the wait, let me find. This is you next to his statue. Is that you? That's you. Can you
Oh, the
see some?
statue, yes.
You can see, right? The picture I've put here or no?
No, I can't see it from here, but the
Okay,
one with the
wait,
statue.
wait. Okay, I thought you could see it, but okay. Can you guys see the picture I've put up? Let me know if you can. So, okay, thank you for that description. I have so many questions though. Hope you don't mind answering them. Okay.
No
So
problem.
before I get to my questions, because I don't know if you know this, but most people don't know about this story that you're sharing. I'm not sure if you're aware because we don't, as far as we're concerned, and as far as what history we are taught, or like the every like thing that we have, including me, documentation that we've seen is Prince Alamayo passed away in Britain. Like that's the information that we have. But I'll ask you a little bit more about that. But for those of my audience that don't know what we're talking about, first I want to talk about. Yes, people are saying yes, I can, and I'm assuming it's the picture. Maybe because you're on the live, you can't see it. So I'm glad they're able to see it. So look at this picture. I'm gonna put it right here for you guys in the middle as I'm explaining what we're talking about. This is Emperor Tedros II. And so, what Shawn is saying is that he is the great great grandson. How far are you? Because you are, tell me.
Prince Alamayo's great grandfather and Tedros' great great grandfather.
Okay. Okay. So, that is what you're saying. And you see, for us, this is for me at least, and Shan will tell me if I'm the only one that is like, wait, what? There's this story of Prince Alamayo survived, and then he came back to Ethiopia, and then he went to the US, and then he has a whole new family. Like, for people that will be like, what is this? Like, we've never heard about this. You'll have to tell us why it was kept from us, because there's a reason. If that happened, that it happened the way it did, and we want to know. And secondly, for my audience that don't know who this is, as I said, he is Emperor Tedros II, and he has done so much for Ethiopia, especially modern Ethiopia. Like in history, we learned that our modern history for Ethiopia started after Tedros, because he was so like into technology and developing Ethiopia and bringing peace and unity to Ethiopia. Like known for that, right? So unfortunately, sadly, uh, Tedros had to lose his life because of a disagreement between him and the British. Back then, it was Queen Victoria, right? So he wanted to have a huge army because he knew you need to protect your people. You need to have like strong enough army, and when he wanted to do that, and he wanted to build certain, you know instruments, tools for, to have a like a powerful army. He saw that the British had certain things that he wanted, so he kept writing letters asking them, can you kindly send me skilled laborers to show us, like skilled trained people, so I can do A, B, C, and D, because I see you guys are doing this. They won't respond to him. 1 year passes, 2 years, 3 years. He was persistent. But when they refused to respond to him, he took all the British people that were in Ethiopia at that moment, and he threw them in prison. They were arrested. Basically, he arrested them, and he told the queen, if you don't send skilled people to teach me how you do these things, I'm not going to send them back. So the British got angry, obviously, and they sent their troops. And once and there was a war, once he realized that they are going to win that war, he didn't want to he didn't want to surrender. So he unalived himself. He took his own life. When that happened, the British soldiers took his wife and his kid, the Prince Alamayo that we were just talking about. They took them. I think I have a picture of Prince Alamayo somewhere here, but this is after he was grown. Maybe I'll show you guys when he was like a baby. When they took him, this is what. No, that's not the picture. Hmm. So when they took him, yes, this is his picture, right? This you can see here. That's how small he was. As you can see, that's him with Queen Victoria, and this is him with the guy, like his guardian. His name you just mentioned. What was his name? Remind me again, Shawn.
Captain Trism Charles Speedy.
Yes, so that was his like guardian after they took him away. So his mom, unfortunately, didn't make it. They say, she passed on as they were traveling to Britain, and Prince Alamayo made it there. They said he was Queen Victoria's like favorite person, and so yeah, he lived there, and uh, they claim that he lost his life. Me personally, I was even speculating that they did that. Like I thought they ended his life. Like that was my theory, because I'm like, what do you mean? Because he used to say, or there's documentation that says that he suspects people are trying to poison him before he lost his life. So I was like, if he was saying that, all of a sudden, if he just loses his life, it just makes sense to me. And also, they never want to show us give us back his parts, like his body. After now, a few years have passed, we're asking, Ethiopia like is asking, give us back Prince Alamayo. Want to, at least, even though he didn't make it alive back to Ethiopia, because that's what we know. I know that's not the same story that Shawn is telling us, so I have questions for him. Well, knew that he died there, so we're asking for his body back so that we can give him a resting place. So now, this is the interesting thing. Shawn is telling us that Prince Alamayo actually didn't die. He went to Ethiopia and he has a whole family. And so, yeah, so tell me more, honestly, like educate me, because I had no idea about this. And if anybody knew about this, please let me know in the comment section.
Well, what's so interesting is that you know to be at St. George Chapel, a royal burial ground, you have coffins, you have tombs for everybody from a king, queen, princess, prince, or duke, whatever title they have. So when the fact that they said they didn't want to disturb the remains of Prince Alamayo, my question was, what did they throw him in with a pile of bodies, and who was those people who passed away? So we all found out that that story was false, because they're pulling up mummies from all over the world, and they throwing it in front of the camera. So you mean to tell me that they got a problem with just one remain of a boy prince? And so uh, I understand now that that was part of Victoria's secret, to preserve his life, because in all the photos that I have of him, he lived a royal life amongst the Queen Victoria, and there was a time that he was being picked on in the school, and Queen Victoria found out and went to the school herself and told all the kids, "This is this is my child or this
How
is
do
my
we know?
son.
Sorry for asking, because I just want to know, how do we know this to be true?
There are they have it in the school records. I'm trying to think. I got the plaque for the school, but I don't have the. I can't. It's like it's high school before he
Okay.
went to military school.
Okay.
Um, they got a plaque with his parents and everything on there, and there have been stories that circulated around about Prince Alamayo and Queen Victoria showing up to the school was one of those moments. I think they had maybe telegraph or something at that time. I'm not sure of the communication,
Mm-hmm.
but he was well taken care of. The statue of him is in the mansion called Osborne Mansion on the Isle of Wight. That
Mm-hmm.
was Queen Victoria's second getaway, and so the Prince Alamayo lived amongst in that palace. And on the same island, Captain Charles Speedy, he also lived there. So, but Alamayo was mainly under the custody of Queen Victoria.
So this is the for those of you you can see this is the young boy. After he was like this was when he was younger, much younger when they took him, and then on the right is after he grew up, probably he looks like a young man, so probably in high school at this point. Um, so you're telling us that the British, aka Queen Victoria, was trying to protect him because who wanted him dead then?
Well, at the time, King Johannes was ruling, and he was the one that was responsible for the British getting to the back of I guess, the back doorway to Magdala. Um, and the only thing I can say about that is just like anytime people from royal families they eye for power, then that's just what happens. That's just natural. It has nothing to do with any personal group of people. It's just one's ambition over the other. That's all it is. But oh, you know what's so interesting? The Lion King story.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Mufasa is Tedros, Scar is Johannes, Simba is Alamayo,
Who
and the
said?
Pride Land is Ethiopia.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, Shawn, wait. I've watched The Lion King. I'm a fan, but how do we know this? Wait. First, tell me who is who, and then how do we know this?
Okay, the story Lion King is based on the story of Tedros, King Johannes, and Alamayo. And the Pride Land, the Lion King is also referred to as Ethiopia because Ethiopia walks with the bragging rights of saying never colonized. So there's a sense of pride in that land. So they use that land and the fact that uh, Simba had to go after the fall of his father, and then one day he would return. Tedros Falls and Alamayo was sent off to England, but it was done by Johannes to set arrangements up for him to go. And so there was two letters that over time King Johannes had written to Queen Victoria, and one in 1879, and then one in 18. Oh, excuse me. First one was 1877, and the second one was 1879. And in that letter, King John was, excuse me, as to Johannes, he was requesting for many things that he was able to get because of his helping of the British. So he felt he was due favors. But what came into question was the well-being of Prince Alamayo, because Prince Alamayo would have been the next heir to Abyssinia, which it was called at that time. And so with the letters, she felt that um, Queen Queen Victoria felt that Prince Alamayo would not have a strong chance to survive that, and with the request of them looking for him now, her best option was to stage his passing in order for him to live on, because at this time he was 18, going on 19.
So how do we know that The Lion King was based on Emperor Tedros, Johannes, and Alamayo?
Well, I only draw as a writer. I only draw with the similarities of the
Oh, so
character
this is
types.
your how do I say it? That's what you think, not necessarily that's what you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll put it out there just for what I think, just for now. But if you hear from somewhere else, then you know there got to be something to it.
Okay, so but
If
you've
you
never
hear that,
heard this theory before, or did you? Have you heard it somewhere, or it's just you?
no, it's just me.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Because yeah. So and like I said, the Lion King, and he was called King of Kings. What was the Lion of Judah? That was another title for Tedros. So that's how I'm piecing the story together. And with the information of the the fake passing of Prince Alamayo, then I'll be able to tie that in because one of the family members, Bibish Casa Mishisha Tedros, who is also a great granddaughter of King Tedros through Mishisha Tedros, I did a DNA testing with her, and it comes out that we are related.
Whoa, yeah, that one I want to hear a little bit more. So, how did you go about, the DNA route? Like, first you heard about it, you were shocked. You're like, what? Like, I come from this powerful kings and queens, and then, like, how did you make the step to take the DNA? Did you ever? I think you mentioned in a picture. How did you go about the DNA and everything else?
Well, because when I first went on the journey, I didn't assume that my great grandfather was Prince Alamayo himself. So I just want to be absolutely clear. I just thought he was a brother to him.
Okay.
But yeah, so when she was interviewed, Abibit Kasamashisha Tedros, the mention of her having Tedros having other children, I was seeking her out to maybe find a link of who my great grandfather was. And so I started doing DNA testing over there to, because I was just trying to, get like an Ethiopian ID card. I was more concerned with just, finding my way back home and being able to live there. So I had the DNA test. I tested her as just a relative, and the DNA came back. Well, excuse me. Let me start this back. I took samples from her DNA and mine, and when I got to America, I had sent it off to the lab corps. And so LabCorp confirmed that we are related, blood related. And so the next step is when I return to Ethiopia is to make an official DNA testing with her in Ethiopia.
So, how many percentage did it show that you guys are related?
It was like 56% same DNA strands and
And that's
traits. And
a
through the
good percentage, right? According to like what the scientists say.
Yes, they the ones who told me we can be related, but I had tested her as an auntie, so it didn't reveal that it revealed that she's not an auntie. But I wouldn't have had no idea other than trying to just get some type of test and DNA confirmation. So um, but one thing that struck me about her is when I first met her and I had the book and I showed her the picture of my great grandfather, she recognized that photo of him and said he was much younger at her father's house. In 1955, I believe the year when Queen Elizabeth had came to Ethiopia, Abibis Casa Mishisha Tedros was visited at, or her father was the Jasmine Casa Mishisha Tedros. So Queen Elizabeth had visited them, and they gave Abibis the bell of Victoria, which was the bell that was used by Prince Alamayo, and that was from Queen Victoria. So they had brought that back in 1955. So after she was going through my photos, she recognized my great grandfather, and then even with the, I guess the traits of my features, I looked a lot like her children also. Which me and Abibish from is too many people didn't ask me was that my mother, and this is the first time I ever been around her, and I'm like over 30 some years old, so. For me to have all these roots back in Ethiopia, and I grew up as what we call a so-called African American, and so all this to come down on me, like I didn't have no problem with it because I mean I had some type of connection with Ethiopia, but because we didn't grow up around any, everything was foreign. But just the chance to be around Ethiopians, I always kind of felt there was some type of a connection there. And so on my journey back to see that I am related not only to just Ethiopia but to King Tedros' family, it's taking time to process. So it's not like, you know, I dreamed about this. It just was thrown on my lap, and I just took the responsibility to find out.
What are you doing to get the word out? I believe you wrote a book.
Oh yes, I've written a book, which one of them is a biography book, and I start with my life growing up to finding my family lineage from my father's side and also my mother's side. And I've journeyed from America to Ethiopia to Israel to Iraq and Europe and Korea. And so I've been kind of on a search to put my family records together. And um, this one is, I don't know, probably like 10 plus years I've been working on. And then I have like other books too.
So, did your great grandfather, which is Prince Alamayo, has he ever like was he honest? Like, do they know that he is from Ethiopia? Like, he didn't hide it after he went to the U.S., or he had to keep up the the new identity.
Well, the great grandfather, he lived to be 113 years old, and he passed away in 1974. I was born in 1977, and so my father ended up telling that the name Charles Lindsay is not an original name that was changed. And actually, when you say Lindsay, it's Linzy, and it's really Lion of Zion, and it's part of the title that was put toward our name. Ambassador Zion was Simeon Ambassador Zion was the name that Prince Alamayo had taken on since he had left from England, and so Charles was named after Captain Charles Speedy. So they did I guess, an honor for him because there had to be some type of great relationship between the three, Captain Charles Speedy and Queen Victoria.
Try to show them. No, you continue talking. I'm trying to find a picture so they know who you're talking.
Okay.
You can continue talking. Okay. This is the guy Charles with Prince Alamayo. Um, the guy he that was his guardian that was assigned to him by Queen Victoria. That's Prince Alamayo as a baby after he was stolen from Ethiopia. We have to be honest about that as well. He was stolen.
Well,
His father died because of what the British did. So.
there's another part of that part of the mystery. The one of the person that was arrested, his name was Henry Stern. And
Mm-hmm.
Henry Stern was a Jesuit, and he worked directly for Pope Pius VI. And so they was part of the conversion. And I read across some other history that he was telling King Tedros that Christianity or that Judaism was dead, and everybody's picking up Christianity. And so the insult that the missionaries had done is why they were in prison. And Queen Victoria had no choice but to bring the reinforcements because I believe she fell under Pope Pius VI
I,
also.
I'm sorry, but I'll have to disagree with you, Shawn, when you say she had no choice, but you always have a choice not to invade a country. Like you always have a
That's
choice
true.
not to take that step. There's diplomacy, there's a conversation, there's like sitting and having a conversation. Don't jump into invading someone. Like, sorry, Shawn, though. I get it. I get what you're saying, though. But yeah, what an interesting story. Like, when I first read your email, I'm like, what history is this? Because I've never heard of it, right? I'm like, wait, he survived, and then it just, I think it's deserving of a movie. Like, I know you said you'd believe it, Lion King was inspired by that, but I mean, like, genuinely dedicated to this story because it's just you can't make this stuff up. This like perfect, I would think. Like I would pay money to go and watch this, right? So honestly, what a story. And you told me that in a few weeks you'll be in Ethiopia. Why are you going to Ethiopia?
Well, I have to do a conclusion interview, and I'm going to use the DNA results to prove my lineage, and then the conversation will have to either shift towards me going to England again, and the remains of my great grandfather, whom I would just say is assumed to be Prince Alamayo Tedros. Although I know different, I'll just say the assumption because until it's the body is put in position to be brought up and do DNA testing.
And by the way, I'm gonna be honest. This your story kind of makes me look at the fact that they don't want to give us back his body. You know, Ethiopia has been asking. This is the story of, for those of you that want to look at this. Look, this was a story just a few months ago, I think 2 months. Buckingham Palace rejects calls to return remains of stolen prince to Ethiopia. Ethiopians have been asking, okay, give us his body. We want to put him, you know, in Ethiopia. He deserves to be back to his country because he was stolen and now we want him back, but they keep like they literally told us no. Buckingham Palace made a statement and they said no, we're not going to give you his body because he's laid next to other bodies and we don't want to disrupt the other bodies. So that was the answer. So I'm like, what are you hiding? He's really not there now that Shawn Alamayo is claiming this. I don't know. My conspiracy hat is like ding 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 ding. So what are your thoughts about them refusing to give us his body?
Well, it just helps my claim, and when I do return, I'm gonna have some, hopefully, have some people that will be able to support this, and I can say, let's just say they don't have to believe if I'm related to Prince Alamayo. That doesn't matter. All you have to do is just move the body that's in the ground in England, and then that'll settle everything. But until then, I know who I am, and if you're gonna keep delaying this, then we'll still make the move to show history of the truth. Because it's so much information that this will open up a lot of other can of worms, so to speak, with because there's a lot of history that's also about Ethiopia that they've been trying to remove for the longest, and so a lot of the treasures that went to Ethiopia, or excuse me, that went to England from Ethiopia, uh,
Or
they're
loot?
spending a lot of time trying to translate it. Oh yeah, well, that's what happens when conflicts happen. That's the nature of it, right? But what they didn't know is that half of the books and manuscripts went to what we call the Beta Israel, or the people known as the Philistines, because they were considered isolated. So King Tedros was wise enough to know how to spread the knowledge and hope that things be spreaded. And so when it's time for us to come back into who we are, and or the strength of who we are, and then that's when everything will open up. But time has to go by for us to get understanding of the things we went to, because if Prince Alamayo had passed away at 19, then just show me his gravesite, just show me his coffin. I don't. You don't have to dig it up. You don't have to do nothing. Just show me. Just like I can go see anybody in the coffin or with a gravestone.
I highly doubt they will do that, but maybe if you no, honestly though, it depends on how much pressure you put on them. Maybe you have to work with, after you said like you're gonna go back to Ethiopia to show your DNA and everything put together. Now maybe you can appeal to the Ethiopian government so you have that supporting you, backing you even more, right? As a single person, you might be powerless. They might be like, who are you? Why should I be, allowing you this and that? So I think you should be more strategic in pursuing what you will need from them.
I'm gonna tell you something I learned. I've been into this since 2007, so it's been a while. Uh, for me to say something in one breath that's totally different from what you ever been taught to know, I mean, that would take time to process, and I understand that because it took me time to process what I was being told, and because half the time, like, is it real? Is it just and but later, once you start getting into the journey of it, you start seeing things and you start gathering information, and then you start hearing other things because we're so used to not asking questions. We're used to being told this is that, and we're not following up on where's the proof at. You know, so so yeah, I'm hoping that when this process time come, I'll have enough support from many people, and we can just bring this into terms and questions. Let's just go there and let them show the world exactly where the coffin and the tombstone of Prince Alamayo is, if they can still do it. I mean, they had 140 some years to do that. So I'm still waiting.
Yeah, and they literally just refuse that. just is it 2 months ago? They said no, like I was talking about it on African Diaspora News Channel. So this is, as I said, such a revelation and such a new, uh, history that I'm willing to bet not a lot of people know. So what will be your advice to those of us that just didn't have any idea, and you know, how do we educate ourselves on this?
Well, when something gets a little tough for me to figure out, I will pray to God, the Heavenly Father, and just say, if there's some alternate history of Prince Alamayo, can you reveal this to me? I would take that up with the Heavenly Father in the prayer, because I can only say so much, and somebody else can say so much, but God will reveal everything that needs to be revealed. We just got to ask for it. But again, I know it's difficult, because if you're past 30 and all you've been told that this happened this way, and now all of a sudden, day one, 30 years, you get told something different, it's not like you're going to, oh, okay, So I'm just, I always put this in the hands of God, because I had to go all over the world, from Israel to England and definitely into Ethiopia, just digging up all this information. And I've been getting some help, so I don't want to do it by myself by any means. But it's some good in it for the Ethiopians or the Abyssinians or the people of that, even all that part of the continent. Or matter of fact, the whole continent. Matter of fact, just the whole world. Why single people out? This is a history that stretches from three places: Ethiopia, England, and America. So I grew up all in America. Everybody know me. I grew up 129 miles south of Chicago. No one ever seen me in Ethiopia before that. So how can I have DNA related relatives in Ethiopia, and they never been over here? So it's I say it's just an amazing thing, and the fact that if this changes history, I hope that brings happiness and peace to those who have put their heart into it and know of this story. So,
And the truth will always come out. It might take time, but it will come out. And at the end of the day, it's how you put it. For most of us, it's a history that was hidden or something that we've never heard of. So it's like it's gonna take time to adjust. Not just that, we might need a little bit of receipts here and there. DNA now is like a big deal, honestly. So like in your quest to finding about your heritage and your ancestry, you said you traveled all over, so what did you find, not just about your lineage or ancestry, but also did it do something for you, like maybe spiritually, or what did you find out while traveling, like the way you did throughout your journey? What happened? Anything enlightening that you can share with us?
well, I could tell you, uh, being the one claiming Ethiopian or Abyssinian, in that journey, I've been digging up a lot of history about the Abyssinians who have made contributions all over this planet here in America. And I even learned that the Cherokee Indian tribe over here was originally the Abyssinians that was over here in America long before the establishment of what we call the first president, George Washington. So just learning that the people I come from are great people, and it's a great history. And I think everyone, especially, should be proud of themselves, and knowing that no matter where you find yourself in this world, by the way of your ancestors, your people, you can always strive and achieve greatness together. And I think having knowledge of yourself more, or I say more knowledge of yourself, will give you a responsibility and to take charge of what you're naturally supposed to do.
Okay, so someone is asking about your book. You told us, but you're gonna tell us again about your books because I was interested to reading it. And also in that book, what you talk about, like the Abyssinia, what you found out, is it there or is there documents that you can share with me? Because I would also love to hear more about where we come from. It's not like it will define everything about us, but it helps you with clarity and I just believe in knowing about your past in order to make a good decision in the future. And yeah, I love that. So can you kindly tell us about your book a little bit for those of us, for those people that just joined, and also how can we go about finding out more about our history?
Okay, I think I have about 8 or 11 titles out. I say up to 11 because three of the books are in Amharic. One is my biography from growing up in America to searching out my family roots and information, biography information about my ancestors, as far as Prince Alamayo, King Tedros. And I go further back, and another book I have. What I deal with Bible stories and some people, as far as for instance Abraham. Not only did I go to the places that he journeyed and lived, I actually been to the burial site where he is, and so I taken information like that and learned how to tie them in to where people came in, and so just to kind of give a little bit more life to it in the sense of the Bible speaking. So again, with the Bible, I just trace certain stories out of there and then identify with historical photos and sites to the location for people to know. Another book I wrote was like a mystery, sci-fi mystery. It's called Nine Eyes, Nine Deceiving Faces, and it's about a futuristic world where we have an invasion by extraterrestrials, and their UFOs come down, and people of this planet wake up to themselves and just have like a battle for good and evil to put it all to rest, but bring balancement back. And the other books that I have deals with just, I guess, more of history, and to learn more about Ethiopian history is basically anywhere in the world that you go, you got a footprint there. So you're not just limited to just an area called East Africa. You've been everywhere. The, well, you still have your culture, tradition, and that's most people don't have that. That's even when I say over here in America. So that's one up that Ethiopian has, not only with the languages, but you have a sense of belonging, and people look to that, and because they say, well, how you know that's Ethiopian? Because look at their culture and traditions, or well, at least Somalia or any of the countries in the region, that everyone has a tradition there, and so there's traditions that copied over here in America and into Europe before I guess the colonization has started during that period. But your history is rich. I mean, Ethiopian go all the way back into the Bible. So, when you're looking at the Bible, you might be looking at your own family members that came before you. So that's how I say we can learn more.
Okay. Um, so your book title, tell me so I can write it over here for them just so they can search it. What's the title? That one about
Oh,
your journey, like this one, the new one, the one about Prince Alamayo. I think it's like finding. I forgot something.
yeah, I know. I've been making long titles. I think it's called Nine Introduction
Nine,
of
number nine, nine.
yeah, with the number nine.
Okay,
Uh,
introduction.
it should say Shawn Alamayo
Nine,
Tedros.
introduction, and then
Uh, uh, of Shawn Alamayo
oh, of Shawn.
Tedros. I think the best way to put my title in is just my author name because
Okay, just your name.
I got some
Okay,
long titles.
that
I
yeah.
have some long titles.
Next book, try to make it short.
Okay, I'm gonna
um,
work on that.
Yeah, no, but this was quite interesting, and I want to say thank you, Timothy. Timothy sent a super chat. I appreciate it. Um, and so, yeah, you guys, I love what Muhammad Ali said, even though it's kind of out of context. He said Ethiopians and Somalis should unite. They are basically family. Yes, like all of Africa should unite. That's the motto here, and that's the what I preach here on this channel. But also, I love to hear your story because I believe I can be wrong, but Shawn, your great grandfather, great Prince Alamayo, his partner, was she African American?
Well, actually, the DNA said I was just raised by my mother, who's African American, but I
You
believe
are,
that my mother
yeah.
is in Ethiopia.
So, oh, so
That's
Prince Alamayo went to the US and married an Ethiopian.
well, he was in Ethiopia first and had two children, a
Oh, he,
daughter and a
oh, he
son.
already had. Okay, so your lineage, though, obviously you're mixed with African American, like you are, I would say, uh, or do you have other ethnicity in you?
Through my mother's side, but my father's side, my father is the grandson of who he actually lived with Prince Alamayo.
Okay.
Um, and then it's my grandfather. So my dad is so we like a direct line. So um, only through the mothers that we trade from like African. My grandmother is African American from my father's side, but from my father, his father, back to Prince Alamayo, back to Tedros, straight Ethiopia.
Okay. What an interesting story, honestly. Wow. Okay, I can't wait to hear once you go back to Ethiopia and what do you plan on doing? You said you want the DNA and everything. Are you calling like the media? Because I know they mentioned you on EBS. Was it no Fana? Fana.
Yeah.
Fana.
Mhm.
Fana. So what are you going to do? Because you need some sort of exposure at the end of the day for to have that backing of people to understand and to actually be invested and to actually help you in digging Prince Adamayo's grave. So what's the goal now?
The goal once I go there, they will set an interview up, and I'll have the DNA on hand,
Mm-hmm,
DNA testing on hand,
mm-hmm.
and then the next step is to get support in going to England and to present this case and go from there. And if my great grandfather is indeed, then they're going to have to go to Champaign, Illinois, in America.
Mm-hmm.
That's the remains is located.
Okay, so at least you have that. Oh wow, like I didn't even think of that, you know. You have that, like you have his grave. Okay, okay. Hmm. Okay,
Yes.
then. Well, I wish you all the best, all the luck, and we will keep up with your story, of course. Now you've gotten us invested, and we want to know what comes out of this. And, the truth will always come out, and we hope and see everything unfold, and, the real history gets told. And that's something that I think we all want.
Thank you. And I tell you, I'm very, very happy and proud that you even had me up as a guest. I have watched your network, uh, and so just to be sitting here as part of that, I'm thank you for that opportunity. I've been a big fan of you guys' programs and things that you show, and it's a bit on the controversial side, which we need because we need a different perspective of how things are being told versus the narrative. So thank you for your hard work and what you do.
Oh, thank you so much, Shawn. And if there's anything you want to say to our audience, just feel free to say anything.
I want to say to the audience, just know that you are blessed people. You got a great history, and you will soon be doing greater things than you ever imagined. This world is changing, and those who have been waiting for a new beginning, it's going to come. But we just got to make sure that we learn to be more positive and more forgiving, and we will have more blessings come our way. So.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you again for coming, Shawn. We appreciate it and for telling your story and for sharing. This is hard. I'm sure not easy, and because you're always thinking, okay, so I'm gonna receive a pushback. Like I get it, but at the end of the day, you have to speak the truth, as you know it. And then, as you said, you are a prayerful man. So you just leave it to God to reveal everything else and all the evidence that you might need come up. So yeah, thank you again. I will hear, but maybe I can give my audience like minutes because I feel like you've been standing and I feel bad. 3 minutes if you have any questions. Quick ask to quickly ask him. If you don't within 3 minutes, we will end this interview. But yeah, thank you again, Shawn, and I will keep up sure this story and also update uh, our audience. So yeah, I'm not seeing the argument between like people like I am full Ethiopian and my DNA results say I have Nigerian heritage, so it's possible. Yeah, like I always say this, my auntie took her DNA test and it showed I think 5% or 0.5% Somali. So it's possible because they come from the eastern part of Ethiopia and Somalia is right there, like they're literally like neighbors. So of course we move around, people don't stay in one place, like people move around, so it's possible to find, you know, different sorts of DNA in your. And also, you said your grandma is African American, so I'm assuming even you might have Nigerian, right? Or no? You
Well, but that side is actually Cherokee, and from her great grandmother, she looks very much like an Ethiopian woman.
okay? Oh,
Like I had
so
to,
not your.
yeah,
Okay, so no, you have. How do I say this? Like because I hear most African Americans DNA show Nigeria, Ghana, like most Western African countries where, you know, the slave trade was predominantly being held, like the that route, that side.
oh, okay. Well, I mean, I didn't do like the DNA testing. I did like the personal lab testing
Okay, 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 okay.
with a direct relative.
Oh yes, yes,
But
yes.
yeah. So I don't know the results of it, but I just say one thing. When even in America, whether a person is Ethiopian, Kenyan, Somali, I couldn't tell no difference until I heard someone speaking their language.
Mm.
Everybody looks alike over there, and that, for me, that's a beautiful thing because I like the most beautiful people, different hues, and I thought someone was a Somalian, and then I said I'm from here, this and that. I'm like, well, y'all look alike, you know. You know, everybody started laughing because they said I look like y'all, but I'm speaking English. They said, well, yeah, you got a point. It's a
We
beautiful thing.
Yeah, we all look alike. Even me, people tell me I look like from the West, from Western Africa, Southern. Even when I was in South Africa, I remember they were mistaking me for like I'm like they're a local person. I'm like, no, they're like, oh, okay, sorry, I thought you're from here. I was like, oh, like the more you hear people like saying, oh, you look like somebody, you're like, okay, my face is actually like it's like we're all we look alike, and yeah, that's what's interesting
Mhm.
well. So yeah, I'm not saying. Oh, I think I have one question here for you. Okay. So, what was it like when you went to Ethiopia for the first time? That's a good question, actually. Thank you, Dia Slap.
Oh, well, I was happy to be there. I was just so excited. I almost felt like I was at home when I went to the waterfalls, Tisabai waterfalls. I
Mm-hmm.
felt at home. The food, I got to eating the food like no, I mean, everybody was speaking to me in Amharic, and I had to correct them that I was only spoke English, and they said, "Why?" You know, they thought I was playing a joke on them or something. But I mean, I felt at home when I first went there. Minus the language, I was comfortable. I was very comfortable, so and I loved it. I loved that place.
Love to hear this because I hear lots of like foreigners outside of Ethiopia, let's say any African country or even like Black American, African American, anybody that travels to Ethiopia, they tell me you guys are so like hospitable, hospitable, and you are so kind to us. And I remember seeing a debate online once. And they're like, "Oh, you treat other Black people outside that come from outside of Ethiopia badly." I'm like, I have never ever heard a foreigner tell me in my country. When I say foreigner, it's because I'm trying to differentiate local Ethiopian versus somebody that came out from outside of Ethiopia, never told me they've been treated badly. So I'm like, I know it's BS, but people say anything they want just to be divisive, just to argue. And I was like, okay, it's fine. Why am I getting angry? The truth is the truth. And I had to learn to let it go because I know the truth. You know what I mean? Because people try to do this thing so that the war can continue, the diaspora between Africa, or they don't see us as like that, you know, that uh, argument that is in this social media streets. So I try my best not to get involved, but I'm glad you said that because I know the
Right.
truth as well. So yeah, thank you so much again. Muhammad is very late to this. Muhammad, after this live is concluded, go back and watch it from the beginning because you're late. Because you're asking, is Prince Alamayo the prince buried in England and they won't return the body? Yes, but literally, if I start talking about it, it is going to be the whole history. Because our brother here was telling us that that was a lie that was told by the British, and he actually survived and he went to America. And this brother you're seeing left, right, which side are you on? This side says that he is the great grandson of that prince, Prince Alamayo. So yeah, start from the beginning of this video, and watch it so you can hear his interesting story. I can promise you it's an interesting story. So yeah, I will leave it here because I see lots of comments, but right now it's 1 hour. And thank you so much, Shawn, for coming through. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just can't wait to hear more about what comes up when you travel to Ethiopia. So thank you for coming through. I hope you also enjoyed our conversation.
I loved it, and I'll stay in touch and with more results. Thank
Great.
you again for having
One day we'll probably see a movie. This story, I
me.
need to see this turn into a movie. I'm being legitimately serious, but okay.
Oh well, you have to get you a part in there too
Mm,
for being a
oh,
part of this
I,
recording here.
I can be as myself interviewing you. Like,
Yeah.
don't forget about me. People are watching over here, so yeah, don't change your mind. Good.
Perfect, perfect.
And yeah, wish you all the best in your journey.
Thank you so much. Peace and blessings to you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.